Today's topic's all about clients, how to deal with difficult clients, how to set terms, and how to know what to charge. Let's talk about it. What's up, guys? My name's Noah. I make music as Haterade, and you are watching The Productive Producer. Today is all about clients. You got somebody sent you an email. Maybe you're on a site like soundbetter.com, great website for getting clients. Or maybe just word of mouth. Somebody shot you an email and said, hey, can you mix this for me? Can you produce a track for me? Can you make a beat for me? You have just acquired a client, whether that be your first client or your 1000th client. These are some of the tips that I have come up with based on my experience and some mistakes that I've made. I've had a lot of difficult clients, a lot of clients who just really weren't the greatest. So I wanted to make this video to help out some of you guys, so when you get your first client, you'll know what to do. The first point is know your worth and never split the difference. If you went to music production school, maybe you got like a couple of hits under your belt, maybe you've had a lot of experience, many years experience making music, and you make quality stuff, you have every right to charge what you're worth. So maybe you don't know what to charge. Somebody asks you, I want you to remix my song. I like this song, but I think it needs a new flair to it. I think it needs to be updated or upgraded. So they send you the song, you listen to it, you sort of gauge on how much work it's gonna take, and you assign a ballpark figure, right? And you do this in your head, by the way. You don't do this on the phone with a client or in front of the client. You do this in your head. Think about how many hours it's gonna take to finish the project. For me, a remix would take 6 to 8 hours, depending on how much work needs to be done on it and how much production I actually have to do. So I'm gonna say 7 hours. At 7 hours, and I could probably say, let's just go for a round number here. We'll charge $350 for this project. That comes out to $50 per hour. Your dollar per hour rate can fluctuate based on your demand or some of the tracks that you've made in the past. Maybe you've got a track that's got over 100,000 plays on Spotify. That could up your dollar amount too. So you want to play with this number. But once you set your dollar per hour rate, do not let the client talk you down from that dollar amount rate. You need to believe in your value, because that will translate in the conversation with your client. If you stand by your dollar per hour rate and deliver quality that reflects that dollar per hour rate, then the client will respect it too. Now, if you're just starting out, maybe you don't have very much experience, maybe you're sort of just trying to get involved in this line of work of like doing work for hire production or remixing or mastering, you probably want to start out by doing some free work just to get started. And this doesn't mean break your back for somebody for free. This is just to get a couple of tracks under your belt so you can post them on your SoundBetter page or maybe somewhere else that you're marketing your services. You want to get some experience so you know that you can deliver on what you promise your client. Number 2, if possible, meet with your client in person via video chat or on the phone. Face-to-face contact is the best way to interface with a client. You'll be able to pick up on what they need and what they want, and they'll be able to sort of see you as a human being rather than just text on a screen. So having that personal one-on-one connection is always beneficial. Try to have that as much as possible. Number 3, set terms before money changes hands. Setting expectations ahead of time is essential. You want to make the client aware of exactly what they're getting and the time frame that they are getting it. I have some bonus tips on getting clarity from the client on what they want and outlining the timeline in which it'll be delivered. Ask the client for specifically what they want. Ask them for about 5 or 6 examples with timestamps. Timestamps are very, very important, and to pinpoint those small little details that they want in their song. Maybe this could be a specific type of drum sound, a synth sound, a guitar sound, any identifying factor that you could point to and say, all right, I put that in your song. That's what you want to identify. Ask them for 5 or 6 tracks with the timestamps, and that'll help get you a clearer picture of what exactly the client wants from you. If they can't provide this for you or won't provide this for you, that's a huge red flag. You don't want to work with somebody who doesn't know what they want. That means you're going to be putting a lot more work hours, and the more work hours you put in means your dollar per hour goes way, way down. Really press hard for clarity in this stage of the negotiation and the process, because the more clarity you have, the better you'll be able to satisfy the client's needs, and everybody leaves happy at the end of the day. You get paid and the client gets a track that they're happy with. If they don't want to do this, if they're just saying, "Oh, just give it this kind of vibe," or, "I trust you, you do whatever you think is best," that's a big red flag. A client is rarely going to be happy with whatever you come up with. If they do, it means they absolutely know your work and trust you implicitly, which is a very rare case. Another thing to do is to establish a pay structure that protects you and the client. Maybe this could be paying a deposit up front, maybe a 30 or 50% deposit before you get the project started. Sites like SoundBetter have a sort of escrow system where the client pays for the entire project up front and it sits in the website's bank until the project is finished. Any way you shape it, you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself and the client. If they don't know you, it's going to be hard for them to shell out, $500, $600 if, depending on the project. So you want to make them feel comfortable too, because you want to have return business, right? You want to have them come back for a second track or a third track, hopefully. Another thing you should do before any money changes hands is set a revision cap. When the client proposes a job to you, you want to tell them that they have a set amount of revisions included in the price. Using our example from earlier, $350 for a project, and you could say with 4 rounds of revisions. And this will be an email exchange from the client. You send them the first draft. They come back and say, "Hey, I want this changed. I want this changed. I want this changed." And you go through, change all of those things, send it back to them, and they could do this 4 times for free. After that, charge them for each revision, because there are some clients out there that will go into this revision spiral where they are never satisfied with the product. You want them to have an interest in getting the project done. If they keep asking for more and more revisions, at least you're making some money out of it. Number 4, underpromise and overdeliver. The worst thing that you can do in this business is the inverse of this: overpromise and underdeliver. It's the reason why it's so hard to get clients these days, because musicians just have a knack for this, and we don't want to do that. We are productive producers. We get things done, we get them done early, and we impress our clients with how fast we work and efficiently we work. You'll stand out in this industry if you could do this. Let's say it'll take you 2 days to complete a project. Make sure you let the client know how long it's going to take for you to get their product to them, and make sure to always deliver it early. And this doesn't mean rush through it. Don't rush through a project just to get it done early. Make sure you're doing it efficiently and doing it well, but try to get it done as quickly as possible so you can impress your client. Last tip, number 5, start small. Sometimes a client will come to you with a huge project. It'll be massive. They're like, "I want a 15-track album produced. Can you help me with that?" I'm sure most of us would be like, "Oh yeah, definitely. That's a huge payday right there. That's a lot of work." Before you instantly accept the project, sit back and think about it for a second. You don't know this client. You don't know how it is to work with this client. Some clients are great. I have a lot of great clients that know what they want, can clearly articulate that for me, and I can achieve that in a quick manner. I get paid fast, they get their track fast, everybody's happy. But not every client's like that. You want to make sure that you are protecting yourself from getting into this huge mess where you're like 7 tracks in and it's been months that you've been working on this album. Nobody's happy. The client isn't happy. You're not happy. And you end up not getting paid. This is one of the mistakes I made in the beginning. I took on way too big of a project without knowing the client, and it turned out really bad for me. I ended up having to refund the client halfway through the project because they weren't happy with it. It was bad all around for me and the client. So from now on, I always start small. If the client wants 15 tracks, I start with 1. Say, "Okay, yeah, I could do an album for you, but let's start with the first track first, and we'll see how it works from there." And then you could just do it again and again. And if by track number 3, you're pretty comfortable working with this client, then you could do a batch of them and maybe give them a discounted rate for doing work in bulk. At that point, you're already comfortable working with this client, and this client trusts you and you trust them. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you got some good tips for working with clients. Since you made it all the way to the end of the video, I got something free for you guys. It's my finishing music checklist. So this is a quick checklist to look over to help you decide how to finish your music and gives you actionable steps to finish your music. Because if we finish more music, the better producers will be. So you could get that for free in the description of this video, and I will see you guys next Friday. Peace.